Please.
Hey, Boss Babes. Welcome to Boss Please. I'm Megan here with Melinda and Jill. How you ladies doing today?
What up?
Fabulous.
Good.
All right, guys. As always, how are we a boss this week?
Well, I complain about the hours that I work all the time and that I don't have a social life after work, which is 100% true. But this week, I decided to be a boss by taking some me time and going to work a little bit tired. I went out for a friend's birthday.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah,
look
girl.
at you.
And I feel like it's such a small thing, but when you don't go out during the week at all ever, it is so huge. And I woke up the next morning feeling only a little bit tired. There's nothing that coffee can't cure, obviously. So
Especially your coffee, because I'm drinking it right now, and girl, there
It's
is some
strong.
magic in there. There is some
felt
magic.
good. It felt good to like see my girlfriends and go out, and it was for a birthday, and it was really fun. I don't know. I think that you gotta be a boss sometimes and make boss decisions, and I feel like taking a little bit of me time and giving that love to a friend was very bossy.
And I bet you enjoyed yourself.
Oh, I did.
I know you did because I was there.
I had a couple of glasses of wine.
It was great.
It's
It was
also
great.
good for your mental health.
Yes.
You know?
Totally.
100%.
Not to just always be consumed in work, even though we're always bosses.
How are you a boss, Melinda?
I folded all my laundry.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that's very boss for me. I didn't put it away, though. I just folded it.
Girl,
That's a different type of boss
I'm
level.
the same way. Like, I have this thing. So if it's dirty, obviously it's in the hamper. But if it's too clean and you wear it, you don't want to put it back in the closet. But it's like too clean to go in the hamper. So I always just have a stack of clothes on the chair.
Yeah, always.
And then when I
like,
can never
piles
find
up.
anything, and I just like go through the stack on the chair. It's awful.
But it's not like you're not busy doing things. Like you're working
Right.
and working hard, and I feel like it's kind of different for you because your home is your office.
Yeah.
So you gotta like separate the work from the home stuff,
Absolutely.
and that has to be hard when you have laundry to do. So good for you,
Thank you very much. I
boss.
felt very accomplished.
Boss of you.
Megan.
So, you guys, my boss moment, I had this audition come through, and I've never not gone to an audition, no matter how scary it is. But this one scared me because it was for a sports host, which, you know, I know sports a little bit.
Yeah.
There's like a little bit about a lot of sports,
Yeah.
but not a lot about one particular sport. But also called for being funny, comedian with it. And for some reason, this just scared me. I was like, I don't think I'm for this. But mind you, it was actually a callback because I had already done a self-tape. So
Okay.
they liked me. So I'm like, oh man. So I emailed my agent. I was like, I don't think this is for me. But then I thought, no, you know what, Megan? You got to be a boss. Because a boss would never say no to an audition, no matter how scary.
True that.
So, ladies, I went to this audition, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but toot. I nailed it. So I'm waiting to hear
good
back.
for
I mean,
you.
it doesn't matter honestly what happens because I am just so impressed with myself for
Right.
going and studying and knowing the material and being able to make them laugh, which was obviously
Good for
really
you.
rewarding. So
That's great.
thanks, ladies.
You gotta love that when fear pushes you a little bit.
Yeah, it was very because I got in the car. I think I called you
Yeah,
right away,
yeah, you
Melinda,
did,
and
you
I was
did.
like, "Okay, I did it. All right, but let's talk about social media because you guys, like, it's so hard being on social media and seeing all these Insta models that have all these followers and not compare yourself to them or anyone else that seems to be living a glorious life for
Right,
that
right.
matter. So how do we do that? Like, how do we stop the comparing and
It's
just
very
love our life?
difficult.
Yeah.
We all do it. Like, I don't know anybody that doesn't do it. But I just try to think, everybody lives a different life. We're all into different things. And also, Instagram isn't exactly real,
It's not at all. I don't know. It's kind of hard because I look online and you see the model types, you see, they have a lot of followers, but then you also think to yourself, how did these normal people, quote unquote normal people, grow this following, grow this authentic
Yes.
following?
Right.
And how come people care less about what I say and more about what they say?
Right.
And that's always been a battle for me because I love everything that I say. No, it's just,
We love everything
We love everything you say, too. Doesn't she have the best voice?
But
Oh my
like
gosh.
you can't help but compare yourself to somebody that, let's say posts a great pic, or on Twitter, like they say really funny things and their tweet might go viral, but you say something just as funny and you get 2 likes.
Right.
And I think that we have a different take on it because we're in the industry and
Right.
in Los Angeles and surrounded. So I don't know if people would feel less about comparing themselves specifically on social media. But it's something that I battle pretty much daily when I'm scrolling, which is like such a bad habit, but I kind of have to take a step back and realize that I post content that I like.
Yeah.
And I post
Yeah,
content
yeah.
that I enjoy, and fingers crossed it'll catch on. Like, I don't know, like, how are you supposed to
It
feel?
should. It should. But here's where I'm at with it. I think that people are always going to post their best lives on their own social media pages.
It's a highlight reel.
We all do.
Yeah,
we all
absolutely.
do. So it's like, I'm not going to post my bad days.
Right.
And I know I have bad days. Melinda, you know I have bad days. Jill, you know, because we talk about it. You're my friends. But I'll never post that on social media.
Right.
So all these other people that we're envious of are also having bad days. Or maybe they really, really filtered and really, really, face-tuned their photo. But to us, we're like, that's what they look like.
Right.
And it's just, we need to be more aware of the reality of these posts and what's behind the post, and know that they are human too, and they have days just like you, and they probably have some cellulite too that they airbrushed out, Hey, I'm guilty of it. I'm so guilty of it. But, we just have to we have to love ourselves more, and we have to give ourselves our own personal likes, I guess, in everyday life, and really just take some time and embrace and wake up with some, thankfulness and gratitude, and just being thankful for the people that you surround yourself with. That just got really deep.
Amen. Yes.
Listen,
Preach,
deep is
Megan,
good,
preach.
Meg. Deep is good. I feel like everything's so surface that we kind of hardly do scratch the surface with these people that we admire on social media.
Absolutely.
But what if we did start posting the real stuff?
I mean, I don't think it would get the recognition, the likes.
I think it depends on the platform, because I'm very real on Facebook, and I
Right,
get a
right.
lot of engagement that way. But Instagram is pictures, and I think people go there to see beauty and perfection. You know what I mean?
I guess it is
It does
the
depend on the
outlet.
platform,
It is the platform. You're so right. Your post, though, on Facebook, the reason why it gets a lot of engagement is because it's like political stuff.
And
So
it's
people
real. Like,
and
I
it's real.
say how I feel. Yeah.
For sure, which is amazing.
Right.
And people are going to engage with that. Absolutely.
I'm sure
But-
people compare themselves to you, Melinda.
They shouldn't.
Oh, no.
You don't want any of this mess.
No. Nonsense.
You
No,
got to
no.
think of the flip side of things.
No, for sure, for sure.
We are putting ourselves out there. We have like industry jobs. I'm sure people look up to us.
Absolutely.
And look at our photos. Maybe not mine. Maybe Meg's and yours, because you guys do the professional photos. But yeah, I think there is some comparison going on, and we need to self-love and sort of forget that a little bit more.
And as Megan
Absolutely.
said, you got to give yourself those likes.
You do.
I love that
And it's
phrase.
hard. It's
Yeah,
hard,
it
but
is.
you really do. Focus on it every day and be like, you know what? I deserve to give myself 100 likes today. Doesn't matter.
That would be a cute shirt, like yourself with a little Instagram heart. Done. Don't
we are
take my
coming
idea.
up with so many t-shirt ideas. I
Don't
love
take
it.
my idea.
Patent it right
Yeah.
now. You heard it here on Boss Please podcast.
I love that. Well, we are so excited for today's show. We have the hilarious comedian Wendy Liebman. You guys may know her from America's Got Talent. She's just all around hilarious and
Yes.
wonderful, and such a female boss, and we're so excited to stay tuned for that. Welcome back, everyone. We are so excited to have comedian Wendy Liebman in studio. Welcome. Wendy has appeared on Jimmy Fallon, David Letterman, Jimmy Kimmel, Craig Ferguson. You have been around the block, my friend.
I was on Chuck Woolery's talk show, and you don't even know who Chuck Woolery is. I'm twice as old as all three of you.
No.
I'm probably your ages combined. But anyway, Chuck Woolery had a talk show, and I was on it.
That's amazing. We've like low key stalked you and seen a lot of your stand up, and you are fantastic.
Yes.
I was
Thank
rolling.
you. Thank you so much. I was on Carson. Did you say that?
Carson,
Carson,
all
because
right.
he predated Leno.
Okay.
And yes, I had been doing comedy for 6 years, which is nothing in comedy years. And the coordinator or the talent booker for the comics on The Tonight Show saw me and brought me out to LA like the next week.
That's
And
awesome.
when I think about being on Carson, because when you watch TV and you feel like you know people from TV, I felt comfortable there because I had watched the show forever. But my thing with stand-up is until I used to watch stand-ups on TV, and until they got their first laugh, I couldn't breathe.
Oh.
So it
imagine.
happens with me too.
Yeah.
Like until I get my first laugh,
Yeah.
I can then get into it. But
So would you say that was like the big moment, or did you have an amazing opportunity before that one?
you know what? I think life is a series of all moments. And so at the time, I thought this is the pinnacle. I remember flying home back to Boston, which we have in common.
Yes.
We've discovered. Flying home and going, if I died today, I would have already been on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
That's unbelievable.
I know.
That is definitely
Absolutely
a
bucket
bucket
list
list.
check.
But now, like, I feel like life is cumulative. It's like all these things. There's not one thing that's going to make me or break me.
Right.
Oh, that's deep.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that.
And I was telling some fourth graders this recently because a friend of mine has a fourth grader, and he asked me to do a tape encouraging them on whatever path they wanted to take. And I said, if you get rejected from something, just see that as direction. Like, it's not rejection, it's direction. Because if you're rejected, you just go in a little different way. And it happened to me recently because I auditioned for just a reading of a play, and I was doing it for a friend. And they called me afterward. It was like I was doing
So
a
you thought you were a shoo-in. You're like, I'm doing this for a friend. I got this.
friend. And it
All
wasn't
had those moments. For
And
sure.
they weren't even like, they were doing just a reading for a few people. So it wasn't like I didn't have to wear a costume or any. And they fired me from it. And I thought I had just given that advice to the fourth graders. So I literally just went, like, took my body and went like, okay, I'm in that direction now.
You actually had to practice what you were
Literally,
preaching.
that's what I did, and I feel comfortable saying that here in the church. I am practicing.
Do you remember your very first comedy show and what it was like?
Well, I started because I took a class at the Cambridge Center for Adult Education in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And actually, it's such a long story. I'll make it really short. I was living in an apartment, and I took the mail-in from the wrong apartment. And I had this course catalog from the Cambridge Center, and I'm going through it. And at the time, I thought I was going to be a therapist. Like, I went to school and I studied psychology, and then I was working at Harvard Medical School doing psych research. And I had always been like the RA and easy to talk to and a really good friend. And so people were like, you should be a therapist. Well, I found it so depressing. And I'm like, I don't want to listen to me drone on. So I was looking for other things to do. So I found this course catalog that I took in from the wrong apartment. And I saw an acting class. And I'd always been in the plays. In high school, in camp. I was always like Eliza and My Fair Lady. I was in Twelfth Night by Shakespeare. I was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. So I was like, I should really think about acting again.
Yeah.
So I took the acting class, and in the middle of the class, or after the first class, the teacher quit. I had nothing to do with it.
Are you sure, Wendy?
Not 100%. But, so then the Cambridge Center for Adult Ed called me, and they were like, do you just pick another class? And I saw How to Be a Stand-Up Comedian, and it was like eureka. It was like, like I just
I have
felt,
chills.
I
It's
know,
like those
it's
moments
amazing.
that you just, it all comes together.
And I don't think you can really teach somebody how to be funny, but the class was a great experience. I made some friends. We sat around, we drank some beer, we told jokes, and I'm still friends with the teacher who has been on like the Sarah Silverman program. His name is Ron Lynch, and he's just a great comedic character actor now. And so my first show came after I took that class. It was at Stitches on Commonwealth Avenue, and I went with my friend Steve Silberberg, who had also taken the class. And after I got off, he said, how do you think you did? And I said, I thought it was good. I thought it was good. He goes, well, nobody could hear a word you said. Oh, no! And I did maybe 2 or 3 open mics every night while having a day job for 6 years.
Wow.
And I'm not exaggerating. I drove a 100-mile radius. And so now when I see these kids who just, like, I see musicians and comedians, they just want to get famous all of a sudden. It's like, it takes
time.
work,
Yeah.
man.
A lot
Then
of
there's
work.
there's nothing that replaces experience for being a stand-up comedian, because really every show is both the dress rehearsal and the show.
I wanted to know this in doing research with you. You know, you've been in the game for so long, and a lot of things have changed since you started, specifically social media.
Yeah.
So how has that changed things for you? Because when you started, there was no social media.
We would copy videotapes and send them out. It was just clunkier. It was, now you can just push a button
Right,
and send
yes.
somebody your electronic
Right.
package. And it's really interesting. You know, I know your podcast is about bosses, so I never really have thought of myself as a boss until 2 years ago, when I started booking and producing this comedy show in Studio City.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I guess being a boss means you're in charge.
Yeah.
And I think boss has such a negative connotation, because you always think of like the horrible boss, or just bossy.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the people that work for me to feel like they're a real part of this. And back to the social media question, I have a stepson who's 24 who just graduated from college, and he's interviewing for jobs, and they're all doing it over Skype.
Yeah, it's
like
all
a-
about Skype.
And I was thinking, I should start a company that sets you up for your Skype interview. Like, you have to
That's
look good and
genius,
have like
yeah.
the background.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Because you never look good on Skype.
Yeah.
But I think the whole world has changed in that you don't have to be right there. You can communicate easier over the internet.
Well, you talked about the hustle a little bit.
Yeah.
And like nowadays, you know, somebody can just send out a tweet and they're like famous. And then it's like, wow, you're really funny. Write a show for me.
Right.
Or wow, you're really funny. Like, let's put you in the movies. And it's happened time and time
Yeah,
again.
and that 6 years that you had
Right.
suddenly doesn't matter anymore, because these, like you were saying, these young kids are coming up, and like, yeah, they kind of didn't have to
Right.
put in that hard
But I
work.
do think like the YouTube stars that I have like a little awareness of them. You know, the what is it called when it's 7 seconds? The
Oh, the Vine.
the Vine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the stars who make it on Vine, I do think they implode. Like they have a shorter shelf life, because they
Yeah.
don't really know
Yeah.
how to talk to people.
Right.
And they might be hilarious. Like, I've seen hilarious Vines. But I do think perseverance, and again, it all comes back to cumulative. Like, I've been thinking a lot about how they say, like, Hollywood has such a mystique about it, but it really is what you make of it. Like, it's like anywhere else. Hollywood's anywhere else. So they say it's who you know in Hollywood, right? It's like that everywhere.
Yeah, no, it is. It's
You're
so
not
true.
wrong. No.
Who do they trust? And I've been thinking about this a lot, like with because I buy a lot of stuff online. And first of all, they're going to have to standardize women's clothing sizes, because we shop online now.
Yeah,
And-
I'm scared. Sometimes I'm scared to do it, because I'll get it and I'll be
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, it's the wrong size. Why on
Right?
earth did
It
I
doesn't
order a
look
small?
anything
And then
in
you
the
just start
picture.
doing a ton of cardio.
I've ordered shoes online. Like, what was I thinking? So they're gonna have to standardize that. But also, like, who do you trust? I know I trust Amazon, because
Right.
I've dealt with them a million times.
Yeah.
So I guess it's all about who you know and who do you trust.
You know, just like you said, you didn't feel like a boss until 2 years ago.
Right.
I knew about the show, but if I wouldn't have known that, I mean,
My
are...
show?
Yeah,
Oh.
if I wouldn't have known about it, I would have never thought that you would have only felt that way 2 years. I mean,
Exactly.
to be a female comedian is
Exactly.
hard enough.
Oh, absolutely.
You're put up against a lot of obstacles in the industry specifically, in a male-dominated field. So I would say you're a boss anyway, because look at what you've done
Yeah.
in the time you've had, and it's amazing. So you need to give yourself a little more
And the
credit
fact
than
patting
that.
myself on the
and the
back.
fact that you took that, you saw that stand-up comedian class in Cambridge or wherever you were, and that to me would scare me. But you took that
Did
and
you
you were
stand
like,
up?
I've never done it.
But
I'm too scared.
both of you are performers.
Yeah, but I'm too scared
And
to do
you're a
stand-up.
performer. But I mean, I know you two went to Emerson.
Yeah.
And so have you acted? Is that your...
I have acted before, but stand up is a whole other.
It's a whole nother ball game.
I mean, I go to shows. It's funny. I always joke because my younger friends that are trying to make it, it's like they're constantly inviting me to shows, and
Comedy shows.
Okay,
like at the Improv or little indie
everywhere.
ones? Okay.
Open mics, come support me. You know,
Right.
I'm in this show, and you have to have the drive to want it. So I think, you know, I don't have that drive for comedy. Do I think that I could do it? Do I think that I could do stand up? I could probably do it.
Do you think so?
Yeah, but
It scares the crap out of me.
but do I have the drive to do it? No, I'm passionate about other things. Like I could do anything
like,
I set my
why
mind
did I
to.
become a comedian and not a very funny kindergarten teacher?
Exactly.
Right? Like,
exactly. Why do you subject yourself to audience scrutiny
Why?
every time you go?
People teach you how to be open and more vulnerable. It could just be a skill that you learn, not necessarily that you want to be a comedian.
That's true, right. But why did I pick a job that 32 years in, I'd still be nervous every time I went to work? Like, it's an interesting psychological profile a comedian has.
Well, what do you feel after you finish a show, though?
I usually feel, well, there's definitely a serotonin rush. And if I'm talking about like my show Locally Grown Comedy in Studio City, at Catello's upstairs once a month, I am so elated because I have gotten to laugh at 8 other comedians because I host this show. So I'm such a loud laugher. It's a good thing. It's a good thing I don't laugh at my own jokes because I laugh so loudly. It's kind of annoying. So what do I feel? It really, this is hard to describe, but it might be like after you perform a song. I feel homeostasis. I'm not anxious. It's like a relief.
A lot of people may know you or recognize your name from America's Got Talent. How was that experience for you different than your normal stand-up? Because that's a national stage. You're on television. There's so much added pressure. What was that
That
like?
was the craziest thing I ever did. And I did it because I would watch the show with my husband and I see my comedian friends on it and I go, John Cotter's doing America's Got Talent. I should do America's Got Talent.
Yes.
And I would see John Wing on the show and J. Chris Newberg, and I was like, I should try out. And then I had to let them know that I'd been on TV before, and they were like, we don't care. So that's something that your audience might not know, that they just wanted to know that I like passed all the, like they make you go through this checklist of, you get not audited, but they vet you, like the police vet you or something, like some detective.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you have a DUI or something, you're not allowed on the show. Yeah, so you know that everybody on that show does not have a DUI. So then you go, okay, I have to do 1.5 minutes of material. And I don't have tons of material, which a lot of headliners do. So I didn't have as much to choose from, but my jokes are just one-liners, so I really had to construct like a set about being married, or I did one about my age, and it was intense. I'm so glad I did the show in retrospect because I got to meet Matt Franco, who won that year, and he has his own showroom in Las Vegas now called the Matt Franco Showroom. He's a magician.
Amazing.
And so I met amazing people, and I don't know, I've done a few things in my life that I go, I don't know where that came from. I mean, I know where that came from, but I just knew I had to do it. Like, I woke up this morning and I thought I have to do a relief concert for the people in Texas.
Yeah, I saw you tweeted that.
So my husband Jeffrey came up with Deep in the Heart. We're going to do a benefit concert. I'm going to get comedians and musicians.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I just know I have to do it.
Yeah.
And Jeff's like, why are you my husband like, wow, you're really passionate about this. Well, I just was born to do that.
Yes.
So I guess I am a boss.
Yes,
you are a boss.
Yeah, you are.
Yes.
Definition of.
Earlier in the show, before you
Yes.
popped in, we were talking about how we compare ourselves to others, especially with social media. But as you were going through life as a comedian, would you compare yourself not only to other comedians, but other female comedians? And how did you deal with that?
So when I first started, there was a comedian about my age. We were kind of similar. Her name is Cindy Freeman, and she and I would be on shows, open mic, and I would always feel like so jealous or envious, or just there was that competitive side of me. But I honestly feel now at 56, I want everybody to have a great show. Like, there's nothing, I really want everybody to do great. And I feel like I've carved out my little niche, and Cindy Freeman's doing burlesque.
A very, very different path.
I could not do burlesque. Well, I could, but it would be scary.
I think that's a really good thing to take away from this. Like, why can't we all succeed? You know,
Right,
But
well, I
we just
think-
have this thing where we're especially females, we're always trying to compare ourselves, whether it's in our careers or even just look wise or like.
Right. Well, I think there's this unspoken rule that there's only so many spots for women.
Right.
And women in general have fought so hard to succeed and be taken seriously and considered equal that I think the perception is there are only a few spots there right now. And it's not true because I'll put 6 women out of 8 on my show and nobody will say a word about it, which is, I think, beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you've done America's Got Talent. Your special is on Netflix. Are there any plans for another special?
I'm writing a play right now called What's a Rare Therapy, and but I'm not writing it for me. So it's a one-woman show, and there is no therapist, but it's about a woman in therapy. It's a play in 2 sessions. So I'm writing it for an actress, and that's what I've been focusing my attention on, that and locally grown comedy, which has grown, actually. Now the restaurant has asked me to do a few other things there, and they want me to do a talk show there.
And when is that
not
usually?
televised. It's usually the last Tuesday of every month, the second or last Tuesday.
Yeah. And it's at Vitello's.
Upstairs.
Upstairs. I love that restaurant.
It's just so sweet.
Great.
And I started it, I guess this is part of being a boss of myself.
Yes.
I lived around the corner, and I was like, I don't want to fly anymore. I'm so sick of getting in an airplane and going away and leaving my dog.
JJ, I stalked your Twitter. I love JJ's moments. Keep them coming.
Yes, I have JJ's moments. It's not every day, but I like.
It's a special day when she posted.
He
JJ
got a
moment.
haircut today, so
Oh,
I'll
you need
post
to post
one
a
later.
moment.
I know. He's a rescue dog. He's like half
really
poodle, half slippers. I don't know. He's ridiculous, and he's I can't train him. He's like as trainable as a carrot. But Jade, I miss my dog and my husband, and I just said, I don't want to go on the road anymore. So I walked into Vitello's. I was like, do you want to do a comedy show here? Because I had done one like a couple of years ago there. I was on the show. And I don't know if you know that restaurant is famous, what it's famous for.
Yeah.
Robert Blake, the
Hired
actor,
somebody
to shoot
his
his
wife.
wife.
I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So
Wait, there was a murder in Vitello's?
no, it wasn't at Vitello's,
No.
but this is the story. Like, we lived around the corner, and one day we were walking, and I saw like these flowers, and these women were putting these flowers. I go, oh, did like a dog get hit? Or they were like, no, Robert Blake's wife was shot right here, sitting in her car, and apparently they had been eating at Vitello's, and then he went back to get something. His gun, he said. I'm not making that up. He said he went back to get his gun that he left at Vitello's. And then when he came out, she was dead. All right, so whatever.
Wow.
The restaurant was put on the market. And this guy bought it and renovated it. And so when I got there, they said, we've been doing music up here. It was called the E-Spot Lounge for Sheila E. So they said, we've been having so much trouble with the neighbors because it's not soundproofed. And they go, we need something less noisy. So comedy's perfect. So that's how it started.
That's
and
awesome.
I really, like, I'm not patting myself on the back. That was another one of those things where it's like, I just knew that I was supposed to do that. And I feel so fortunate that I have like a lot of confidence that I could just walk in there and present myself. And that confidence came from a lot of therapy and support from my friends. I think doing the show that I've been doing, Locally Grown, has given me more confidence because people are so into it, and like people come back month after month. It's like a family.
I know I can speak for all of us. We're so glad that we got to know you during this time.
I'm so
such
happy.
a boss, such a confident woman.
Thank you.
I love it. You exude positivity. And thank you so much for coming
This
on.
is a great podcast, and I'm so appreciative, Melinda, for reaching out to me
course.
and let me know how I can help.
Thank
Okay.
you so much. Thank
Okay.
you. And we cannot wait. So guys, Vitello's last Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, usually.
If you're in LA, in the LA area, make sure you go check it out.
yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Boss Please Pod. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe on iTunes. Navigate the path to your best self with us, because bossing together is always better.